Lux was the prince of the former empire, and he had powers that allowed him to destroy entire armies alone. He was known as the Dark Drag Knight, but after being defeated, he wakes up and sees himself locked up inside a prison cell. A girl approaches him, and he begs her to listen to him, saying that he can explain everything. He tells the girl that a cat had stolen a woman's purse, and as he was chasing it, he happened to accidentally fall into the school's shower room. He had fallen on top of a girl and wondered how he got there, and thought that he needed to come up with something to get out of this situation fast. He tells the girl that she's cute and that she's a knockout. She called him a hoodlum, and he realizes that the girl doesn't care about his story at all. She asks him if the sword device is his, and tells him it's rare to see a man carrying two of them, especially a black one to begin with. Another girl comes, asking her what she's doing here. The new girl tells him that the headmaster wants to meet him, and they drag their prisoner with them. A new girl tells him that he must have nerve for peeping on girls showering, and he tries to tell her the story again. However, he realizes that he's actually in an academy, and apologizes to the headmaster for causing the ruckus. The headmaster recognizes him as the prince of the former empire that fell in the previous war, and the headmaster tells them that she knows this kid, and he would never have the balls to even stare at a girl if she asked him to.
Emotional damage!
She asks him if he knows about this academy. She tells him girls have a higher aptitude for riding the mechanized dragons, so this happens to be an all-girls school that is intended to train them. However, she wants him to work here, and he asks her why she would ask a man to do this. She tells him that it's rare for boys to be able to ride the mechas. The girls yell at her, and the blonde girl comes in and says that it's unacceptable that he would work here. He realizes she's the girl whose plot he saw, and the girls warn her that he will develop plot with her again if she gets close. The headmaster tells him that she'll leave him at the mercy of the girl, and the girl orders him to fight her. Anyone feeling like they have deja vu of a blonde girl fighting the only guy in a school full of girls? Yeah, me neither. The girls think that there's no way she can lose against a man, but the headmaster warns her, saying that he won a tournament undefeated, and he's known as the undefeated weakest one. She thinks that he's just a perv and that she will put him in his place. She tells him that this duel between them will decide his fate. If he loses, he will become a criminal for his actions. She tells the girls to inform everyone that the new kingdom's princess will be fighting the former prince. He asks her what she means, and she tells him that she's the first princess of the new kingdom that destroyed his empire 5 years ago. She tells him it's nice to meet him, and he wonders how he ended up here. His sister meets with him, asking him what he's doing at her school. He apologizes and asks the girl if she's gonna be standing the whole time. She tells him that she will because she heard that he will lift her skirt if she gets too close. And she tells him that it's disappointing that her friend's brother is a useless perv. His sister asks him how she would pay his debt if he's incarcerated, and tells him that they've been considered criminals since the war, so they already have a very large debt to pay. She tells him that he needs to be more responsible, and he tells her he's been trying his hardest to do that. The girl tells him his efforts are very clear by how desperate he is to grab girls in their baths.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven.
His sister tells him to behave himself, and tells him that he must beat the girl at all costs. He enters the ring and hears the entire crowd screaming for him. Machines begin to deploy a barrier, and they commence the match for him to fight against the new princess. The girl asks him if he knows why she challenged him to this duel, and he asks if it's because he used to be a prince. She tells him he'll get to know if he wins. The match begins and he chants his summon. She tells him that he looks pathetic, and that her machine is on a completely different level. She has a divine raiment. His sister knows that this type of machine has an ability that generic machines can't do anything about, and that only the most skilled can even use them. The teacher tells them to start fighting, and she begins firing at him right away. He flies around to dodge her bullets, and she tells him to show her a good time because she likes it rough. He attempts to dodge her magical ability, but gets a direct attack. He asks her if they would be able to work things out if the match ends in a draw. He tells her he's truly sorry for what happened in the bath, and the girl thinks that he's not just some random imbecile. He's the king of morons. She summons her cannon, The girl tells him that he should get rid of his dragon and use the sword he's hiding. He apologizes because he won't be using it, and the girl tells him he will meet his doom. Her metal weapons begin flying at him, but he dodges and parries them at incredible speeds. However, she fires her laser beam at full throttle. His sister's friend realizes he's about to lose, but his sister tells her that he won't be losing that easily. The princess wonders how he's still alive and feels like he's toying with her, so she decides to unleash her ultimate weapon and activate its full energy. She tells him to beg for mercy from her divine raiment and sends a gravitational attack that sends him crashing towards the ground. Her energy is beginning to run out, but she tells him that it's over for him. However, her weapons begin crashing into each other, and they realize she's losing control. He tells her to hurry out of her machine, but she tells him that she won't lose like this. A sound is heard from the distance, and the barriers disappear. They see an abyss dragon eating at the machines, destroying them. All the students are informed that they must evacuate. The abyss begins firing towards the princess, and Lux defends her from the oncoming fire. They begin dodging the abyss's attacks, and the girls are scared. Aerie comforts them, telling them that her brother won't lose against a single abyss. Lux rushes away from the dragon, and she remembers him asking her to help him destroy the abyss because he can't destroy it alone. He told her that he will signal her to use her cannon, and that she should be ready for his signal. He dodges across the sky, firing against the dragon, and baiting it towards his trap. The abyss begins rushing towards the princess, but he distracts it. However, the abyss slashes his arm off. The princess uses this opportunity and fires at the dragon, annihilating it. Lux comes crashing down, and Ms. Tsundere goes to check up on him. Shower plot progresses again, and she thinks that this is the first time a man has ever tried to protect or help her. Inside his dorm, he dreams in pain, remembering himself staring at a pond, and hearing his brother asking him what he intends on doing. His brother had asked him if he was willing to stay by his side, or if he had his own plans. He wakes up from his dream, and sees that the princess is here to take care of him. He asks her why she's here, and she tells him it's because he saved her. She introduces herself as Adismata. She tells him that she's grateful for him saving her, and tells him that she's a lenient and generous princess. They stare at each other and laugh, and she tells him that she trusts him. She says that she'll let him know the real reason for her duel, and she tells him that she couldn't let him get away with seeing that in the shower, and he apologizes for seeing her plot, but calls it pretty. She tells him that he's a filthy dog and that he should drop dead. She tells him that she was talking about this and goes on to show him a mark above her plot. She tells him that she hasn't ever told anyone about this and that he should keep it a secret. He tells her that he'll keep it a secret and swears on his swords that he will keep it a secret. She asks him why he refused to use his sword during the duel, but he doesn't know what to say. She tells him that his punishment will be attending this all-girls school. She tells him to call her Lisha as if she was his classmate, and leaves. The girl was spying on them, and wonders who this Lux Arcadia guy is. The next day, the teacher introduces Lux to the rest of class, and tells him to greet them. He introduces himself, and Lisha has taken a liking to him. The girls think he's cute, and think he must be extremely powerful. He wishes he could just go home, and sees a pink-haired girl he recognizes as Philippi. He thinks it's been 7 years, and tells the teacher that she's a childhood friend of his. The teacher allows him to sit next to her, and Lisha gets jealous. He asks Philippi if he could borrow her textbook, but she tells him to call her Fee. The rest of the class begin thinking they're cute for their nicknames, and she gives him her textbook and calls him Lou. Poor Lisha is getting Later on, the girls ask him if he's a handyman. One of them requests his hand for service.
What do you mean by that?
And the other girl thinks that she wants some of that too.
Are you sure about that?
One of them decides to create paper requests so they could all get service from him, and begin calling him Luxie. Lisha comes up to him and tells him she also has a request. She tells him that from now on, she wants him to be her exclusive personal assistant. She tells him it's the least he can do since he saw her plot. Fee gets up, telling Lisha that she's making him uncomfortable. They begin fighting, and Lisha gives her a donut to back off. She eats it, and tells her that Lou is uncomfortable, and that she should back up. Krulsifer, geez these names man, we'll call her blue-haired from now on. Crew Girl tells Lisha that the headmaster asked her to take care of him. Lux agrees to get out of this mess and walks away with her. He thanks her for getting him out of that mess and asks her why she would do that. She asks him if he's heard of the Black Hero, the legendary drag knight who single-handedly brought down the entire empire. She tells him that no one knows who he is and that she has a request for him. Find the Black Hero, she commands him, because she has personal business with him. He remembers his brother telling him that the army put his childhood friend on the list of human experimentation. He tells his brother that he doesn't want to kill people. He wakes up the next day, wondering what that dream was. He grabs Plot and thinks the blanket feels good. However, he realizes he's grabbing Plot and runs away. He asks her why she's here, and she tells him that this is her room and that they slept together because of that. He tells her to cover herself up because he can see everything. Eri tells her brother that she's surprised how he could transfer to this school and already develop more Plot yet again. He tells her that it's not like that, and he tells her that the headmaster paired them together because there were no other vacancies and that she trusts him with her sister. Eri warns him to be careful because rumors are already going around about him. She leaves, and he asks her why she's leaving so soon. She tells him that if she stays by his side any longer, she won't be able to leave him. She tells him it's a joke and leaves. He goes inside a barn and says that he's here for a request. He sees Leisha lying on the floor and asks her who the manager of the shop is. She tells him that she's the manager and shows him his repaired dragon. He asks her how she's able to do such a great job, and she tells him that she did this so he could join the school's night squad. She tells him she saw potential in his skills, and she would like him to lend his strength for their new kingdom. He takes the sword, telling her he'll do what he can. She tells him she's glad he could join, but that she has one more request of him. They spend the day walking around holding hands, and she tells him that they must get to know each other to be better knights. She takes him to a restaurant and he thinks this place is expensive. She tells him she's a princess so she can definitely take him out, but realizes that she forgot her wallet. They still get food, and she apologizes because she wanted to be the one to treat him to lunch. She tastes his big long creamy stick and thinks it's delicious. She blushes and tells him that she wants to feel it on her chest. I mean, she wants his warm cream on her chest. You know what, never mind. Just spam Rip Lux in the comment section because he has to deal with a tsundere every day. The fake fans will never expect it. They go on top of a tower, and she tells him she loves the view. He tells her that he used to come here to clean this place when he was younger, and she wonders how he was a handyman prince. He tells her he's impressed by how she's a princess but is able to repair those machines so well. She walks away, asking him what he thinks it means to be and act like a princess. She tells him that 5 years ago, she was captured as a war hostage to be used against the king, her father. She tells him that the brand on her stomach was because of those people making it seem like she's their property, and she wished for her father to come rescue her instead of his country. She tells him she couldn't die, so she had to abandon everything and side with the empire that abandoned her. She doesn't feel like a princess, but after her father's death, she was the only heir to the throne. At night, he thinks that he couldn't do anything befitting a prince. He remembers wondering why his brother had killed all of them. He remembers his brother laughing at him in a crazed way, telling him that he was useful. They didn't have to use the whistle that summons hordes of abysses. He tells him that if he hadn't killed everyone, they would have assassinated him. His brother tells him that he doesn't understand anything. Lux wakes up, wondering how he fell asleep, and hears bells ringing. The teacher lets everyone know that an abyss appeared, and that there are security forces headed to eliminate it. They are the last line of defense and must be prepared to fight. Leisha tells him that she's heading off because the military is short-handed. She tells him not to worry because she's strong, and heads off. Eri asks him if something is wrong, and Lux realizes that there's been an increase in abyss recently, and doesn't know why. Leisha gets ready to attack the giant slime, but hears a whistle blowing. The slime explodes, and Fee hears the sound of a whistle and tells Lux. The slime explodes, and someone tells the eggs to hatch now. Hundreds of abysses appear, and a man comes from within. He tells her that he is a commander from the previous empire, and Leisha tells him that this is treason. He tells her that this is his homeland, and blows the whistle again. The abysses begin flying around, but Leisha attempts to hold them off with her laser cannons. However, another one begins attacking her as she keeps attacking, and she begins falling behind. One of the drag knights comes back telling them that they're in danger. Lux tells his sister that he will go to help Leisha, but his sister tells him that he can't do anything with his weak machine, especially without using his sword. He tells her not to worry and decides to head off. Leisha is still fighting against the dragons with her gravity weapon. She asks if the rest are safe, but they tell her that they're in no condition to continue fighting. Leisha says she will go for the leader to destroy his ability of controlling the abysses. The man blows the whistle again, and 3 of the abysses begin firing at her. As she attempts to dodge around, their leader strikes her down, and they see the entire Empire's rebellious army. Lux tells her to hold out, but she tells him that it's okay, because in the end, she couldn't do anything befitting of a princess. She tells him it's been difficult, but she truly wanted to be one and prove herself. The leader tells her to spare him the pitiful story, and rips her shirt to show her mark, telling her that he was the one who did that to her, and she remembers. She throws her sword towards him, and as he is about to end her, Lux comes to save her. Lux tells her that he also failed to achieve anything as a prince. He tried to save everyone but failed, so he has dedicated his life to saving people. His arm cuts off, but he activates his magical ability and releases his machine. He takes out his black sword. He gets covered in black armor, and they realize that he has the black divine raiment. Eri sees that her brother has released it, and the girl realizes he's the black hero. With his armor, he goes around annihilating all the abysses standing in his way. He explodes them one by one, and his sister remembers that he was the drag knight that single-handedly destroyed thousands of machine dragons.
Reload on fire.